Hi, we're making a YouTube video today, and we're going to talk about a brand new topic, one that some people still aren't aware of, but I feel like most people are. We're talking about performative males, talking about guys who are putting on of this front of being something that they're not. Typically, is going to be like a guy who's like feminine or in touch with this feminine side, dresses a certain way. We're actually going to start this off with a bit of an example, sort of showing us what it looks like to be a performative male. Quick disclaimer: I feel like I used to be kind of like this. I really used to feel like I used to be a performative male, and like not enough people are asking themselves if they're doing things for attention. I think now I'm at a point where like I'm not really doing that, but I think at one point I was. This is coming from experience. Um, anyways,
My day in the life as a performative man living in New York City, fall edition. I put on some raw denim baggy jeans, a baby tee, a green cardigan, and a toque, all from Uniqlo, and I roll it up an absurd amount. Then I do my daily affirmations in the mirror. You are Jacob Elordi. You can pull off a bag. You are Harry Styles. You can pull off a cardigan. We got that. On my way to loiter in front of the FIT dorms, someone stops me in the street and asks me what makes me confident. I say the women in my life, and keep on moving. Later, I put on a pimple patch and my workwear jacket from Uniqlo, because today I'll be getting my hands dirty in the rough draft of my neo-feminist screenplay. I put my wired headphones in and blast Adrian Lenker. At the local cafe, I grab a chai latte and ask for their most ethical milk. They say, "What does that mean?" I say, "Oh, it's fine." I waft my incense towards the girl sitting next to me. It smells like tobacco and the sound of rain. I explain to her that I'm hoping either Sofia Coppola or Luca Guadagnino will bite on my new script. She puts her AirPods in. I drown my sorrows in my latte. It upsets my tummy. I worry about my plants and head home. It's soup weather, so I slip into some comfy gray sweats and a wool sweater from Uniqlo before my hinge date arrives. I whip out the stainless steel set, never used, and tell her I'm making her my Nona's famous recipe. I serve her some canned soup. Yes, chef. Yes, chef.
okay, so I feel like that's pretty straightforward. So we're touching on a couple of topics here in this video. I think this is a great example. Not only just playing up being a feminist, but we're also like playing up having certain hobbies. Things like cooking. That's a really good one. Dudes love to make you think that they can cook. I can't cook. I think this video is a great example. Very goofy, but we got fake hobbies, we got fake interests, things like that. But let's talk about why this is happening. This is what I think is happening. I think at the very bottom line, I think it was also represented in this video. He's trying to talk to this girl outside of a cafe, and then he's got his hinge date coming over. We're just trying to get bitches. This is just a method. This is a method that came about that is not working. This kind of guy could only exist in our modern society. This is the only, we got rid of eugenics. But I say the Spartans had the right idea with throwing people off the cliff. I say rather than throwing off disabled people or people born with certain defects, I think we should start throwing babies who try to reach for the nearest tote bag over the cliff. If the baby's born and you set it in front of a Uniqlo outfit and a tote bag, and if it starts crawling that direction instead of its mother, yeah, we're hucking that thing, tossing it. See ya. So we know why this is happening. Where does this come from? I think the first detection of this, it was a very physical thing before it was like a personality thing. There's like an embodiment of this guy that was created, I think, solely on TikTok. TikTok's another reason why this happens, I think. But it's a very well-known character, I think, the Safe Sleazy. We got these guys up here. That's Curtis Connor, the Ian iDubbbz, and I have no idea who this other guy is. But when you look up Safe Sleazy, he comes up a lot. There's something about having these permed, greasy mullets and the just for men dyed mustache that like summons some ancient dark energy. And I think these guys like created this ball of negativity, and so many dudes got this combo mustache mullet that it shot outwards. The one thing about these guys is that they're very copy and paste. They're kind of like all the same. They share one very important, distinct underlying factor, and that is they stink. They smell bad. They're greasy. It's not a good look. I think if you have this haircut and mustache combo, get rid of one or the other. Just don't do them at the same time, and wash yourself. No matter what, all these guys kind of like being the same. This ball of dark energy that was created is kind of like led us to a bit of a pipeline. We've got a split in the road. Here we have two options. You can either continue on your mullet mustache journey, maybe get some tattoos, pick up boxing, and motorcycles. You take the dickhead route, or we get into what we're really talking about today, and we get into the bisexual dickhead route, where we start picking up tote bags and lattes with the good milk, with morally just milk. I think no matter really what you got going on, whether you're just a mullet mustache guy, or maybe you're a mullet mustache guy who's also really going the full 9 yards and faking everything, you're going to kind of land yourself in the same spot. Here's I think the biggest issue. This is the one that I see people get called out the most on, is reading in public. Um, Reading in public is just, what is going on? Reading in public is just a no-go for anybody, no matter if you have a mullet, no matter if you have a mustache, no matter what you dress like. I don't think you should read in public. It might depend on what you're reading. I was talking to my girlfriend on whether or not it would be performative to be reading Harry Potter outside of the cafe. Maybe it's not performative to read Harry Potter outside the cafe, but it is performative to read bell hooks or Nietzsche or something stupid like that. A lot of people, a lot of these performative guys will come up with the same reason as to like, oh, I can't read in public. They're like, what? This is just anti-intellectualism, and I don't really think that that's the necessary question that they should be asking themselves. I think that question is a diversion. I think that's meant to distract us from the point of what's really happening. I think what they should be asking is, do they really care about what they're reading? Nope. No, you don't. That book that you picked up, that philosophy book that you picked up that you're reading, is going to really not affect you in any way, because here's my take on philosophy. Everything that they're saying is just like common sense now, but it was really profound because everyone was stupid back then. If they don't sound like pure dream hypotheticals, like brain in a jar theory from like Rene Descartes, it's just like karma and be nice. It's, these books aren't changing your life. You don't care. The people around you don't care. You just want them to. Intellect can be attractive, but faux intellect is always going to be see-through. No matter how many things you can read, sponge, and regurgitate, it'll always be really obvious you never really grasped onto any of what you consumed with your little hands, your little baby hands. You had too many rings on. You had too many rings on that you couldn't grab the idea. Um, your tote bag was too heavy. Next, we have how do we cope with this? Because we're getting called out all the time for doing this and that. How do we cope? They just hate your swag. Is that these girls hate your swag so much that they need to tear you down constantly. And it's not because you're making a complete ass of yourself. It's because you're so hot and you look good and smart. Back to the anti-intellectualism. I really like some of these comments. We can't learn about racial covenants on homes and redlining of racially separated districts. How dare we analyze historical context and expand our understanding? I really like the reply. They don't want us to win. That right there, that is telltale. They don't want us to win. This is a game to them. This is a game to the performative male. That is proof right there. There's nothing to win about learning about these things, but to the performative male, there is. And what do we win? Bitches. That's what we're really trying to win. That is what they're mad about. You can absolutely learn about all of these things. In fact, I would encourage you to learn about all these things, but you will never learn about them if you spend all of your time trying to show people that you're trying to learn about them. These guys want a cookie for attempting to understand social issues. That's usually, that's usually the route that it goes. It's usually like feminism or things like redlining, racially separated district, stuff like this, like the negative aspects of history that I think are important for us to be aware of. These guys are like using that as a way to posit themselves as good people. It's like they're using the look of doing this as like a way to gain social currency and land land with the chicks big time. Here's the thing. If you're a performative male, here, I need you to listen. Hold on. It's never hot to be phony. If you spend so much time cultivating a look and just to be perceived, your actual personality is going to falter. It's not going to work out for you because you spent so much time on the outside, you've had no time on the inside. So the second that anyone gets actually close to you or you speak a word to them, it's going to sound so removed from reality that they're going to think you're nuts. The videos that those comments were on, I should pull that one up, but I'm not going to because I don't care. This guy looks nuts, and he's mad because he got called out for like reading a book on the train, and it's like, you're not actually reading that thing. We know you're not reading that thing. You can read at home in your own time, but you're not reading at home in your own time because you don't actually care. You only care enough to look like you're reading in public. It's like reading and learning is not a worth it thing to these guys unless they're doing it in front of people, which is why they would never do it in their own time. I have no need to make a show of, me knowing about these things, me being aware of these things. It doesn't make sense. No one wants to be friends with a serial aura farmer guy because he's going to be taking up all the aura and there's going to be none left for anybody else, and we're all just going to want to go home. As soon as you come into contact with somebody, you will be sniffed out. There's no way around this. Just be yourself. Because if you were really being yourself, then nothing that I say or anyone else says could ever do you any harm if you actually are just that kind of person. But I think it's the fact that they don't want us to win and they're getting so upset. I think it's obvious that it's like, okay, well, maybe we're not actually like this and we're getting called on our bullshit. And we can't just say that, okay, you caught me on my bullshit. Uh, anyways,